Hey everybody, it's Randy with Carchaeology, and I am going to introduce you to some new additions here to the lab. Now, these are visitors here. These are cars that we're going to go through. We're going to do what we do best. We're going to dig these things up. We're going to drive them. We're going to check them out inside and out, and then we're going to help the owners find homes for these cars right here. So I'm going to start out with this. It's a 1954 Volkswagen Transporter. Now, the VW bus definitely has a following all around the world, and it really all started with the most utilitarian models that they made, the panel van and the single cab pickup truck. Now, the real early models of these, like this one, they refer to as a barn door bus. And the reason they do that is on the panel bus, the engine lid was significantly taller, and there was no rear hatch. On the single cab, obviously, it's got a bed there, so it's got the shorter thing. But there's other attributes that are a part of the barn door era that this definitely shows. You've got 16-inch wheels. You've got semaphore turn signals. You can look at the roof here. There's no overhang on the windshield there. It just goes straight up, where later models have some vents out there, and it comes out significantly farther. There's no turn signals on the front of the bus. You've got pressed bumpers. That design continued on until 1958. But probably the most intriguing part of it is the interior. The dashboard in the barn door buses is fantastic. Look at that. It is just this little speedometer pod and this little gauge fascia here and switches. This is the same as you would find in a split window era Volkswagen bus. The steering wheel is a real simple 3-spoke design. And look at this. It's totally open in here. No design to it. No dash to it. It's just absolute bare bones. You've got a little footrest for your passenger. Check out this crazy gas pedal. I love how this particular one is worn through. The metal is seriously worn right through. Shifter is real close to the seat, straight up and down. So on and so forth. Other early stuff, if you look at the dog legs here, as they call them, you can see the seam right here. That was something that was unique to the early buses and the ones that were built at Wolfsburg rather than the Hanover plant that came later for bus production. So there's no fresh air vent up above there. There's really no anything. It's absolutely bare bones. It's got the door handles that you'd find on the early split Beetles and stuff as well, with a little groove in it. And it's, it's just kind of where it all started. Now, deluxe models of the barn door, when they started doing those, actually did get a full dashboard that used the same sort of a gauge pod as well as a speaker grill thing or a clock on the side. And it would kind of use 3 of those across the deluxe models. But in any case, this particular example is a really, really, really nice bus. And this came out of this collection that we're helping liquidate. And it's out here now for a revival. It's been sitting for a while. It's time for this thing to get back on the road and to clean it up and make it look the best that it can look. Now, a previous owner at some point did some touch-up here, some weird little things to try to keep stuff from rusting, I assume. Little bits of black paint, little brushes of this kind of ruddy brown primer. There's some stickers and stuff on there that shouldn't be on there. But this sort of stuff, I'm hoping I'll be able to get that off of there so that we can just get down to the paint that's there and maybe get some color back to this paint as well. You can see right here, we can get a little bit of color back in there, I think, once we give this thing a good scrub. The roof here has been hit with that same sort of paint. It's really messy. I'm going to try to get through that somehow, either stripping or sanding, and try to get rid of that sort of urban camouflage look there and make this thing all look proper. So that's the 1954 barn door single cab. Let me show you another incredible single cab. So here is truck number 2. This is, I think, a 1960 or 61. It is a single cab, as you can see, but it has a really rare option. It has this wide bed, an extended bed. I'll walk around the backside so you can kind of see how much wider this is than a normal truck. If you check that out, look at that. I mean, that adds probably close to a foot of extra width of that giant bed. And this piece was, an option that was available. And actually the majority of it is a bolt-on affair. So if you look up there at the front, You can see that panel there where that bolts to the bed edge. And then along the bottom here, this piece here kind of tucks up underneath the edge of the factory bed. There's brackets there that hold it on, and so on and so forth. There's some unique parts, though, that are a part of that. Obviously, the wider tailgate is something that was unique to the wide bed option. Coming up here to the latches, you can see how much longer this latch is than the normal single cab latch because it's got to stretch all the way out there. Super rare. They did these things in two different versions. They had the metal side gates, and they also did some with wood that Westphalia was involved with. This car is early enough to still have the ice pick door handles. You can see it's got the more traditional dashboard. The earlier split screens have a thinner lip here for the parcel tray. This is another detail of earlier ones where the corners of this are a little more pointy. They got a little rounder once you got up into, I think, about 62, 63, somewhere in there. This bus also has safari windows. These were not original to this bus. You can tell the welds here are a little crude, and the latches and stuff. These don't look like original safaris to me, but that's a real common and popular accessory. People love those, and it's a cool thing. Now, this is another one that's also in really pretty nice shape. This was obviously a restored bus that went into storage some number of years ago. I really think that this one, as well as the barn door single cab, are going to clean up well and be roadworthy pretty quick. Again, some more of this black paint that was sprayed on spots just made a mess of things. I don't think it necessarily protected it, but hopefully I'll be able to get some of that off of there so that the overall look will be very consistent and attractive. So that is a great truck. The engine lid's open here. I'll peek in there real quick. We can see what's going on. It looks like a pretty stock little 40 horse motor in there. But yeah, I bet you that thing will run. Kind of has that look. Okay, so what's next? There's more. So bus number 3 of this particular collection is this 1967 double cab. So much like the single cab, it's a truck, but it's got an extra seat in the back there. They started doing double cabs in the late 50s. The very first ones were done, I think, in 57 or so by a coach building company called Benz. And they proved to be very popular. And then Volkswagen started doing production of them themselves as well. So 1967 is the last year for the split screen front design. And then they went to the bay window in 1968. 67 is a highly prized model across the full Volkswagen line. Something about 1967 was just really good, and people loved them. And a double cab, of course, is a super attractive and special model that I tell people often, if I could produce any Volkswagen again, it would be to produce these double cabs. Now, this looks like it's a pretty decent bus. Obviously, around the back here, it's had some crazy paintwork and stuff back here, and that was due to an engine fire. You can see the taillight lens is melted there, and if we look at the engine compartment here, it's pretty well cooked. Now, I don't know if that engine's savable or not. We may spend a little bit of time on it, see if we can get it to spin. If it'll spin, then maybe it'll run. But obviously, it cooked the paint, blistered it up really bad, and then in this case, putting that paint on there probably did protect the metal in a moist climate. So this one, I don't think we're necessarily going to do a whole lot to. A little bit of cleanup would be great. But I think this one will probably be sold more as a project rather than getting into it real heavy. I do want to spend a little time with it, trying to make it look a little bit better than it does. And if there's any chance at all of saving that motor and making it run, well, then maybe we'll do that too. But this sort of stuff isn't necessarily going to clean off. This is going to require some sanding and repainting and that sort of thing. And maybe we'll leave that to the next owner. But 1967 double cab, that's a pretty desirable truck. And number 4 out of this collection is this fantastic 1963 high roof panel van. So Volkswagen offered a lot of special models in the commercial vehicle line. These with the extended roof were popular from different companies that needed to haul tall stuff, whether it be a laundry or be it somebody with landscaping or whatever, hauling trees around. But as you can see in here, it is a massive interior. In fact, you can stand up inside one of these, and that's one of the joys of it. A lot of these were turned into mobile shops of sorts. Some of them had a sales flap that would open up on the side. You can see the doors here are an extended height as well. So that makes it super easy to get really tall items in there. These things are also awesome to convert into campers and things like that because, man, you can get a lot of stuff in here, and straight up you can stand up in this thing, which is super cool. This one has had some metal work done to it. Floor has been replaced. It looks like this bulkhead that's in there was actually out of another bus, so that must have been cut out at some point and replaced. It's had some metal work done to it, some rocker repair and outriggers and stuff underneath. And all of that seems to have been done pretty well, but it's never been totally finished off. It's just been painted in a ruddy brown primer. Almost looks like it was done with a brush. In fact, I would bet that it probably has. But overall, the body's really straight on it, and it's a really fantastic looking beast of a bus. Now, this is another one that we're probably not going to do a whole lot of cosmetic work to. It's all about just getting it up and running and driving and looking a little bit more presentable. But this is a really desirable bus. There's a lot of people that have been inquiring about this one. But all four of these cars will be sold. They will be put up for sale, but they will do that after we've spent a little time with them. The whole goal of bringing them here is that we can get these things up and running and driving and looking the best that they can, and then put them out on the market for the owners in a professional and proper way through our website, oldbug.com. So watch Old Bug for the arrival of these on there, but more importantly, watch our YouTube channel here as we go through each one of these individually as projects to share with you guys. So you can watch the transformation, you can watch these things go from something that's been sitting in a warehouse for many, many years to hopefully something that is on the road and proud and will make a new owner very happy. So in any case, that is the quick walk around of the Fantastic Four of the buses from this incredible collection that we are assisting with out in the great state of Alabama. And it's pretty fun to have these things here in California, and we'll see where they go from here. Thanks for watching, everybody. Keep on digging them up and driving them. Bye-bye.